You're listening to a New York Jets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the team's latest goings-on as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hey, Jets fans! Welcome to another New York Jets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. The last one of the season, excluding the Jets off-season preview that you're going to get later this week. I am the Jacob Valk, except no imitation. I'm not going to get too upset about this game, to be honest with you. It was the last game of the season, absolutely meaningless. And the Jets losing basically guaranteed that the Patriots wouldn't win the AFC East. I understand that they lost to the Dolphins anyway, but if you're not scoreboard watching, you don't know that. So, anytime that the Patriots don't get what they want, I'm happy. I mean, I'll say this. What was the biggest issue with the Jets this year? Their defense. Their defense went into this game dead last in terms of points against per game, yards against per game. They had given up the second most first downs in the league. They had given up the most rushing touchdowns in the league. So to see this defense step up and give the Jets a chance to win made me kind of happy. Don't let the final score fool you. The Jets defense played really well. C.J. Mosley was outstanding. Jason Pinnock has a future in this league as a safety. I don't know who first came up with the idea of moving him from corner to safety, but realistically, that may have saved his NFL career. Because he was a dreadful corner. Now that he's at safety, you can put him out there and he'll hold his own. Like, I'll tell you, there's a part of me that wouldn't necessarily be upset with May and Pinnock being the Jets starting safeties next year. Is that what I want first and foremost? You'll have to wait until the offseason preview, but I'll tell you, if things shake out that way, I wouldn't oppose it with every fiber of my being. Quinnen Williams was excellent. Quincy Williams was excellent. I mean, the Jets really made Josh Allen work. That Bills offense was not as good as we've seen them look previously. Let's put it this way. You know that the Jets were motivated to put out a better performance than they did on November 14th, where they got destroyed 45-17, when Mike White came crashing down to earth, where 4 different Bills had a rushing touchdown, where Josh Allen completed 75% of his passes. You knew that they were motivated to put out a better performance than that game. And they did. The reality is, toward the end of the season, you saw things that gave you confidence. At the end of the day, a win or a loss in this game was really irrelevant. You just wanted to see progress from the young guns. Has it been that way for most of the season? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that the Jets fell out of playoff contention in September. But no, in the sense that their game last week against the Buccaneers absolutely infuriated me. They had a chance to win that game, and they didn't. You go ask the Jaguars how they feel about knocking the Colts out of playoff contention. They'd rather have that win than another loss. The Lions would much rather beat the Packers than lose to them for the umpteenth time. Alright, the tanking mindset doesn't work for me. I understand the last game of the season, it's very easy to pack it in. You're looking forward to your off-season plans. Maybe you're getting away with your family for a little bit, and you can forget about football for 3 to 4 months. But you didn't see that from the Jets' defense. They played well. They gave the offense a bunch of chances. Unfortunately, the offensive line had, without question, its worst performance of the season. Now, I understand that this was against one of the best defenses in the NFL. And obviously, they were motivated. They wanted to win the AFC East. They wanted that home game in the wild card round. They didn't want to have to go to Cincinnati. They want to host either the Chargers, Raiders, or Steelers. But there is no excuse to let your franchise quarterback get sacked 8 times. You're watching him get hit back there constantly and constantly and constantly, and you're just like, my God. This kid can take a beating. I'm not going to get on Zach Wilson at all for this performance. I can't. Did he make mistakes? Yes. No question. But the offensive line did him no favors. Everyone, McDermott, Feeney, Moses, AVT, etc., they were all dreadful. Wilson had no time to do anything. And the Jets couldn't run the ball. Michael Carter was useless. Tevin Coleman was useless. So you've got to air it out. The thing is, though, A, the offensive line was putrid. It was without question their worst game of the season. And B, Wilson was playing with his B team. No Corey Davis, no Elijah Moore, no Braxton Berrios. Here are the 5 Jets that caught a pass today. Keelan Cole, who was the only Jet to have more than 1 catch. Jamison Crowder, Tarek Black, Tyler Croft, and Jeff Smith. There is a real chance that none of those guys are on the Jets next year. So you have wide receivers that aren't exactly world beaters. plus an offensive line that did its best impression of a subway turnstile, going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL, I'm impressed that Wilson completed 7 passes. Was this a game that gave you a bunch of confidence in him? The answer is no. Alright, it's okay to say that you want Wilson to do more. But when he is surrounded by ineptitude, there's very little that he can do. Alright? I wanted Wilson to finish the season strong, believe me. I mean, there's no question that if the Jets' offense is better, if Wilson is better, they have a great chance of winning this game. I mean, you can't go just 1 for 14 on third down. You can't pick up just 4 first downs. You can't finish with 53 total yards. 5 net passing yards. That's not going to work. That is putrid. That is anemic. There are college teams that could do better. Fair. All fair criticisms. But I don't want anyone to say that Zach Wilson's a bust because of this game. I don't want anyone to say that Mike LaFleur doesn't know what he's doing because of this game. I don't want anyone to say that Robert Saleh doesn't know what he's doing because of this game. Do I have an issue with Saleh? There's one issue I have with him. But I'll save that for the off-season preview. And let me just say, it's a correctable issue. Like, it's one where someone can sit him down and say, hey, coach, you need to realize this. It's probably not what you think it is. I'm really looking forward to the Jets off-season preview. Look, this is a bad game, but we've sat through a lot of bad games this year. You know what the worst part of the expanded season was? The fact that we had to sit through one more Jets game. Yay, more football, everyone loves that, but at the same time, the fans of the really bad teams had to watch their team for one more week. I mean, think about it this way, Jets fans, we can finally watch good football. We can finally watch 2 good teams go at it. Haven't seen that in a long time. Look, this was a disappointing end to the season. There's no question about that. You have a right to be upset. You have a right to scream at Wilson for looking as bad as he did. I mean, you want to tell me that regardless of the circumstances, the quarterback needs to give you a chance to win? Fair or not, he needs to find a way to do it. That's his job. I get it. Not the fairest mindset in the world, but I get it. But I'll say this. Wilson post-injury looked like a night and day different player than Wilson pre-injury. The time off really helped him. He got to sit back and watch guys like White and Flacco run the offense, see how it's supposed to look. You can take a step back and decompress a little bit. That makes things easier sometimes. I hope you can see the potential with Zach Wilson. I hope you can see the talent that Zach Wilson has. Is it a guarantee that he's going to succeed? Absolutely not. But I think every Jets fan has to be more optimistic about him than pessimistic. It's okay if there's a little bit of you that's pessimistic. I get it. You're a jaded Jets fan. Totally understand that. I'm in that same boat. But I think this kid is different. I really think he's going to work out. And I think you saw why everyone loved him coming out of BYU toward the end of the season. The Jets do have some good young building blocks. Michael Carter looks like he's going to be a good running back. Overall, he had a good season. Averaged 4.5 yards per carry. I'll take it. Elijah Moore looks like a stud. Braxton Berrios looks like a stud. AVT looks like a stud. And the Jets were able to find these players off the street that came in and looked solid. And the Jets were able to find some diamonds in the rough. The corners were all day 3 picks. They look really good. I don't want all of them starting next year, but I will say this. And this is a far cry from where I thought I'd be at the start of the season. Every single one of the Jets' young corners, I want back next year. Guys like Hall, Carter, Echols, and Pinnock. I want them all back. Not saying I want them all to start, but there's a role for them going forward. And I want Quincy Williams to start. Never thought I'd say that. Look, the Jets have 2 top 10 picks. They are going to have gobs and gobs of cap space. Next year is the year for them to take a big step forward. I'm not saying that it's playoffs or bust. It's not. I think it's incredibly unfair to say to a team that went 4-13, you have to make the playoffs next year, or else we're blowing this whole thing up. Be realistic. How often does that happen? That a team that goes 4-13 can make the playoffs the following year. But I will say this. If Joe Douglas plays his cards right, there is nothing stopping this team from being a 7, 8, maybe even a 9-win team. I think every Jets fan would sign up for that in a minute, regardless of if they make the playoffs or not. There's a lot to be happy about, Jets fans. The future's looking very, very bright. Now, I'll tell you how Joe Douglas should play his cards later this week for the Jets offseason preview. I don't know exactly when it's going to be posted. Maybe Wednesday, but don't hold me to that. It will get done this week, I promise. I just don't know when exactly. Also, I'll say this. Last year's offseason preview went over 2 hours. Now, granted, it had to, because the Jets were looking for a new head coach. They had a quarterback controversy. It needed to be over 2 hours. But I'll say this. This year's offseason preview will not be 2 hours. It doesn't need to be. Again, just to reiterate, I don't know exactly when you're going to get it this week. Gun to my head right now, I'd say Wednesday, but don't hold me to that. You'll get a Brooklyn Nets show tomorrow night, a New York Islanders show a week after that. Regular episodes of the Jacob Valk Show come your way every weekday afternoon. Until next time, I'm Jacob Valk, And always remember, if you disagree with me, you're wrong.